Yeah. Okay, guys, I've just pinned the space. Feel free to retweet that, get your friends on. I did hear that R2, who is running the StarWolvez Twitter right now, is giving something away for this space. Is that right, R2? Did I hear correctly before?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know that you guys were promoting a giveaway for a Surgence allow list spot, and we just figured why not give away a StarWolf to whoever wins that as well. So
Oh,
we'd love to give
wow.
away one of our NFTs up here. No big deal. We always love welcoming new people into the pack, and we'd love to do that.
Oh, that is huge. So you're not just winning one thing, you're winning two, and it's doubling the value. Insane. Love that.
I
Two
could just
better than
leave
one,
this
for
as
sure.
a co-host and join as one of the
Oh, yeah,
speakers
man.
to
I'm
win
ready
this
to
now.
join as one of the crowd as well.
I'll make a side deal with R2. Give it to me.
Okay, Ripcord, feel free to take this away. I will be messaging G Money to see where he is, but you can get started. No stress there.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, esteem. Welcome everyone. This is our one of the many Twitter Spaces and AMAs that we do for surgeons. We really focus on educating the community and then sharing that intel with anyone, everyone who is not necessarily within surgeons. So one of the Twitter Spaces, one of the avenues for us. Today we have some interesting guests and a very topical subject, which is play to earn. That's been around, kicking around for a while. We're going to talk about play to earn, the landscape of things, and then how it is evolved, etc. But before that, can I ask StarWolvez and Mehta Gandhi to introduce themselves and give a elevator pitch of what they do? Obviously, we are not going too high, so 20 seconds for each of you to do an elevator pitch about what your project is about, and then we'll take up the rest of the things from there. Whoever wants to kick off, stage is yours.
Yeah, you got it. I'll go first. Yeah, this is R2DGen on the StarWolvez account. And we're a P2E project that started minting our Genesis back in February and actually did our generative collection in April. We were fortunate enough to sell out the collection in about 5 minutes on the public sale after our allow list went. So that was a really successful mint. And since then, we've just been nose to the grindstone building out a P2E game that's kind of like Clash of Clans Web3 style. So we've started porting over our Discord games, PvP, boss battles. They'll all be live on the website. And very soon we have our base building part of the game launching. It's actually in staging right now, and we're going to be pushing that out to production very shortly. And, it's not been one major drop all at once. It's been building, but we've been building out in the open, including our community in the process, and we like to do a lot of community engagement. Right now we have a community bounty to build a wolf dex, sort of like a Pokédex, and if members want to build out an app to be able to look at and index the StarWolvez, we're offering up to a 5 ETH bounty, depending on the quality of said app. So we always like to keep our community engaged in the participation of our success, because at the end of the day, I think we're all going to say this, but community is we live and die by it. So that's StarWolvez in probably 45 seconds.
Never mind. You're probably going up Burj Khalifa, so I accept the timeline. Meta Gandhi, now that you
Yeah,
figured out how to join from mobile and Twitter space, all yours.
cool, man. So we are on the other side of what gaming developers do. We are a gaming guild, so all those people who cannot afford expensive in-game assets, we buy on their behalf and rent it to them for a share of their earning. It's a simple model. We have been working in this space for 1.5 years now. We started with Axie Infinity, I think most of you guys know, and then we have over 20 games now in our guild with 300 members playing actively. We have over 150K investments done in our guild, and we are in the process of legally registering ourselves in Singapore. That's why we have not done bunch of marketing until we get registered. But that's what the gaming guild does, and I'm the founder of the guild with another partner. So yeah, happy to be here and share my P2V experience with you guys.
That's incredible. So it's really two different parts of the spectrum. One who's really building a project, the other one is relying on the assets of the project to build a whole community and engagements around it. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where the whole origin stories of these things have come to be. But before getting on with that, can whoever wants to pick this one up first, let's talk about the inspiration for you from getting into the Web3 space and specifically P2E, right? And obviously P2E has been around for a while. Unfortunately or fortunately, people only got to know about it after they joined Web3. But yeah, if you have a journey, if you have an arc with P2E from Web2 to Web3, that will be amazing. But talk about what pulled you in getting into this site and dragging yourself into Web3 from there. Arthur?
Yeah, sure. I could go first. So I left my traditional job actually in the restaurant industry back in November of 2021, but I've been in crypto since 2017. The pandemic obviously afforded a lot of good opportunity to network with people and, a lot of time to dabble in new and interesting things. So I started meeting some very interesting people, and we put our heads together, and I became the community member or a community manager of a group called Alpha Mint. And in that group, a bunch of us kind of got together and started, talking about creating a project. That's how StarWolvez was kind of born. So that actually happened back in September of 2021. Now, at the time, the market was very just PFP heavy. The idea of like groups and gated access clubs, I mean, they were starting to gain a little bit of popularity. But this originally started as a PFP project. One of the things that we decided to do was to take a different route from typical NFT projects. At Alpha Mint, we had done a daily morning show on YouTube, and we're actually on like episode 160 right now, or something like that. And we talked about all of these projects time and time again. And you saw it. There was a playbook forming. It was easy to get a lot of hype, get a lot of followers, cram a lot of people into Discords, mint out, and then whatever happens after that happens. And we didn't want to take that route. We always say when everybody zigs, we zag. And so we wanted to try like a very organic, very natural growing community. And so we just let it be this slow burn. We did a lot of teasers. We just slowly kind of leaked it out into the world that there was something going on here. And it was, I think, about 3 months after our first tweet that we even opened the Discord, which was not normal at the time. And yeah, so we just kind of slowly built that up from there. And it was always just about putting quality and community first rather than, doing what everybody else did. And that was the ethos that we always operated in. So, the reason we started the project was just because we saw an opportunity to be different. We saw a desire in the market that it didn't always have to be just a pump and dump, mint, sell real quick, and the cycle, rinse and repeat. We were trying to create something different. The P2E aspect of it actually came a little bit later, when NFTs, there was this desire for it to be more. And we just thought the IP lent itself so well to having this whole universe, this interoperable Web3 universe, to build upon, a lot of lore, a lot of storytelling. And we just, we really took that and ran with it. But kind of to bring it back to your original point of like why I'm here and why we're doing this was just to be different and kind of buck the trend. Because again, we talked about it time and time again on our show and our podcast. And we just didn't want to do that. We thought that there was a better way to be representing NFTs.
That's a good story to tell. Again, I'm glad there are communities out there who have put projects out there and the founders out there who have put communities at the top, because Surgence, we've been building this thing for over 7 months. When I joined Surgence, or the so-called Alpha Club at the time, the intent was still the same. We will build a strong community before we even get to it. And that's the funny story is it still continues. Most new members don't even know when we mint or what the collection size is and such. So it's really, and no one really cares, to be honest. I don't think at this point this is a running joke. We always say this was always supposed to be a rug, so we're gonna take all the time, teach people about all things that we know and they should know, and then just rug the whole project and run away. But I think it's a good way of building a community and then just making sure you're here for larger gains rather than just a PFP project. Meta Gandhi, you for sure have a different story because your entry point into this space is not typical. Let's talk about you.
Yeah, man. First of all, of amazing story, man. That's really inspiring to hear. So about my story, actually, I come from a forex trading background, so I was always interested in putting the money out there in the market and gambling it basing on how you feel. Obviously strengthened by your technical analysis and fundamental analysis. So that interest in me around the whole financial sector got me when I hear about crypto in 2018. I started to trade a little bit of coins, but I was really not into it. And then, but I still was doing forex. So last year, when I was traveling to Philippines for a trip, I saw people there. I met few people there who have really changed their lives by playing Axie Infinity, because it's a low income country and people were earning more by playing Axie Infinity, obviously in the bull markets. That really impacted me, and that's where I saw that actually Web3 is like giving a use case to people and impacting their lives. So that is what that moved me. And I was like, so I come from Cambodia. I mean, I'm come from India, but I'm based in Cambodia, and Cambodia is also very similar to Philippines. The average income of people here is low, average salary. So I thought, why not bring that entire concept that is running in Philippines to Cambodia, where people can earn more rather than working on jobs in coffee bars or where they can earn less. So that's what that inspired me to get into Web3 actually. I mean, I was trading shit coins here and there, but I was not fully involved. So then I started the gaming guild. We saw a lot of people sharing happiness, earning more every day by just contributing 1 hour during the bull market. So that was really the inspiration to uh, to basically distribute the wealth on the in the all sectors of the community in Cambodia. And yeah, that's how I got into Web3.
Yeah, I'm glad there are some commonalities then. I think I thought I was one of the oldest in this, in at least in Surgence, doing this kind of trades. And because I think my story with crypto goes back about the same timeline as yours. Started with trading mostly because of my IRL job. I was doing a bunch of blockchain consulting and then extension into financial services and retail sector. So I got the intel, the necessary research for the market was free for me, where different groups in the company were doing that, and then I was just consuming it. Next logical step was to pop some money around and then see what happens. So yeah, it's an interesting one. With Axie Infinity, you have I'm glad you have picked that one up because not many have really encashed upon it, especially so much money to be made when it comes down to low income countries. And I know you spoke about Vietnam, Cambodia, but there I've known of people from countries like Africa as well, continents like Africa as well, where this is a big deal. Given the amount of money they would make by working for a full day basis versus playing something or consuming Axie Infinity side of things. So yeah, it's a really really smart spot, I must say. The fact that you were able to pick that up in the timeline and then the space that you have spent here is really incredible. So that being said, let's move on to the next part of my thought process. Right, I'm wondering where. Given you now that you have spent enough time in Web3, P2E, and P2E has been around for a while. I personally always felt P2E needs a little more maturity on itself. But let's see, what according to you is that one thing you would see happening in Web3 and P2E? Anyone's take?
I,
Yeah.
I think StarWolvez go first. Let him go first all the time, so we don't stop in
Okay.
between.
Yeah. If you want me to just yeah, go first, no problem. Um, So sorry, can you just like say the question again? You're just asking like the maturity of the P2E space?
Yeah, so the maturity of the PDE space is something that is still not very clear, right? I mean, I work with a couple of gaming companies, like the Fortnite and etc. These guys have been on the sidelines quietly working,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they're still watching. So, according to you, what is the maturity levels of the market based on what you see, what you have seen in the bull market versus bear, and then what is that one thing you think should be happening at the back of it for the space to really push the envelope for P2E.
Yeah, one of the things that we talk about a lot is actually just redefining the expectations. The early stages of P2E, if you can even really call them games, they were really just risk protocols, right? Like you're kind of
Yeah.
just taking, Wizards and Dragons and Wolf Game and all of this stuff. There was like X% chance to lose everything, X% chance to steal an NFT. Like they were just risk protocols, like kind of disguised as games with an NFT graphic base. But really, at the end of the day, the people that did the best in them were the ones that got in early, took big positions, and then just sold at the top. That's not really a game, right? Like that's not very fun. Redefining the expectation is going to be key moving forward. You'll even see a shift from the conversation of being called play to earn. We always refer to it as play and own, right? Like just kind of changing that narrative of playing a game for the sake of playing a game and being able to have ownership over the assets that you accrue over that time. You see Gabriel Layden from Digidaigaku, which is a crazy, crazy successful so far, and obviously, very, very well funded. He's been shouting out free to own, right? So it's kind of in the same narrative, and I do think that narrative is kind of taking over, which we're actually really happy about because I think that's the key, right? Traditional gamers, have played games for thousands and thousands of hours over the last few decades without the expectation of any kind of monetary return, right? They play the game because, they enjoyed it. It was escapism. It was fun. It was testing. And now, in the last 15 years or 10, really, about 15, time flies. But, it's become a social experience as well, right? And for Web3 games to succeed, at its core, they're just going to have to be fun games to play and they're going to have to be social experiences, right? We have to get away from this idea that you are playing the game simply to earn an income. And what will succeed is we are playing the game because we like to play the game and we have agency, we have ownership over all of the things that we accrue. If you look at games like Fortnite in the past, yeah, that's great. You can buy skins, you can wear them, you don't really own them. If you look at the terms and conditions, like they're still assets that are owned by Epic or Riot or Valve. Like all of these things you don't technically own, but people understand that they have value, right? My son's 11 years old. He plays Fortnite. He sees somebody run by with a particular skin, and he can go, "Oh, damn! Like that skin would be worth $2,000 if he sold his account." These ideas are very native to a younger demographic, and I think that like for the P2E space to fully mature is to just focus less on the play to earn and it's more of play to have fun and you own things in the process. So that's kind of what we've always been building towards, and I think that's where it's going to come in terms of like what's going to bring P2E or play and own or however you want to call it into the mainstream. Yeah, there is going to be a convergence of Web 2 entities. The big one that's always being talked about is Grand Theft Auto 6 and Rockstar integrating crypto and potentially NFTs into their game. There are going to be some big players that end up doing this, and I think it's going to be a meet in the middle kind of situation where the projects that have built during this time have kept busy, have treated their community with respect, treated the idea of NFTs and gaming with respect. They'll probably just meet somewhere in the middle. It's going to be hard to compete truly deeply with like all of these really, really, really well funded game studios. I'm talking about the ones that are valued in the billions of dollars and just have a fleet of engineers at their disposal. Like once they decide to turn their ship in that direction, they're going to go and they're going to go fast on it. But I think there's lots of room for projects like us that are building in this market to kind of meet them halfway somewhere in there.
Great, because I'm bound by NDAs and legalities, so I can't really speak in or take names. But one thing I can assure you, some of the names you took, they are already taking a note. They're basically just waiting on the sidelines to see this market evolve, mature a little more, so audience look at this, or the consumers really look at this as a new avenue for really playing the games rather than just trying to make money out of it. So mostly because it's their name on the line, and they don't want to mess around with it, right? So as a brand, they don't want to come to the market and then end up as a failure. So a bunch of them are on the sidelines. The other thing you mentioned about your 11-year-olds walking around saying, "Okay, that would have cost $2,000 or whatever." That is exactly what I used to feel when I still do game, but yeah, whenever there's a new weapon that gets pulled by one of the gamers, and they're like, "Ah, dang, that why don't you just throw it on a marketplace and let me buy?" Right? So that aspect of things is what I personally have been feeling is going to bring a lot more value, because up until now the in-game assets have been very much restricted to a particular game, or even for that particular uh, creator of the game, author of the game. But I think really the one place where I am seeing traction, the place where I'm seeing a lot of the game developers and the brands looking up, is how do I bring all these things together where there is a marketplace where I can bring my character, put them in any game I want, irrespective of which platform I'm gaming in or which game I'm in, and then bring all that accessories, the weaponry, the skins, everything along, and then just continue to be that character, because you would have spent, like you said, thousands of hours building that character in, and then why would you let it go, or why would you not take him or her along with you in the journey, right? Yeah, I'm hogging more time than you should. Meta, go ahead, Gandhi. I don't know what part of the name you would fancy. Meta Gandhi, Meta Gandhi.
Can I chime in just a little bit?
Hey, good.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of wanted to touch on that one part there from StarWolvez. I definitely agree on the fun aspect, but I think it's also important, and I think in the next six months to a year, and the coming play to earn space, I think play to earn is actually something that needs to be focused on. And that's because a lot of these blockchain staking games that are wildly popular in these countries that Metagandhi was speaking about earlier, these play to earn games, the NFTs are great and the momentum is there, but ultimately what you see in a lot of them currently and in the past is that they can't sustain the tokens themselves. And that's one, because they don't have technology that's powering the tokenomics or sustaining it in the liquidity pool itself, as well as utility. So I think honestly, where the space can also, take notice is the need for development on the actual earn side. That sustainability of exchange of value, right? What are you actually returning to your players and to your holders of that asset? And so I think that's wildly popular, and that's something that we're actually pretty focused here with Metatopia World.
Right. Now, I think, yeah, I didn't want to get too much into the tokenomics of the games, because again, then we'd be talking about your project rather than, really building and seeing what the space needs. But for sure, there are a bunch of projects I have seen where the tokenomics have been a mess. They basically, that's also, I think, primarily reason why some of these haven't really taken off, because they come to market saying we have amazing tokenomics, you can generate tokens, and then the one thing they forget, they tend to include is, oh, by the way, you can exchange them not just for in-game currencies, but they would really want to attract attention. So they throw it up there saying, you know what, you can convert this into ETH or any currency of your choice, and then work with it. Now, what they forget is sometimes, or most often, is the fact that people are out here for money. So as soon as the tokens are here, it gets dumped, and then you're struggling with the liquidity of your whole game. So
100%.
tokenomics definitely plays a significant role. It has to be thought through even before you go public and then say we're gonna do airdrop. I mean, I was literally speaking with somebody the other day where they did the mistake of doing Telegram marketing and then saying we will airdrop our tokens for the winners. And I kid you not, that Telegram went from zero to about 220K followers, members in overnight. and you know how many of them are bots, and so it's just funny how some of these things tend to take off. And if it was a normal NFT, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be that big, because it's just because it is associated with gaming. There's so many people who are into games. Playing P2E specifically is just kicks off a different angle altogether. Meta Gandhi, would you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think two aspects of a question. One is, just correct me, I'm just recalling it because there's so much to be spoken. One is that you asked when, how do I see the space getting mature, and how do we see Web 2 being integrated into Web 3, right?
Yeah, in the direction.
Yeah, okay, cool. So what he just said, that of course, what I personally think and what I'm seeing currently more is that people come from a very short term mindset, even into NFTs. First they just want to flip for quick profits, and when it comes to play to earn, also the earn aspect, people are just coming in. That's a specific experience from my guild as well. As soon as the price of a coin, like say SLP for Axie Infinity, started to tank because of their tokenomics, and they were like the inflow and outflow problem, people are really demotivated because they're not viewing the entire space from a long term perspective. They're not thinking that they're get to build an asset, be part of an ecosystem. They are just looking and very, very focused towards the earn aspect. And once that earning doesn't meet their benchmark of earnings, they just get demotivated and leave the space. So I think where the entire space really need to mature is to perceive play to earn from a bit more longer term perspective. Obviously we need to think that entire market is down, earnings might be low, but this is my like real life experience that I deal with scholars every day. Is just once they don't earn enough game tokens where they were earning earlier, they just tend to leave the space. So that's where the space really need to mature on the player side, because I deal with players every day. And from the gaming side, or the companies that are there, obviously as I said, that they need to fix their tokenomics. And before it comes to tokenomics, they need to really develop a game that people actually want to play just because they love the game. They are not doing it for the token. And that's where I think will be the that's where I will be the think there will be the sweet spot where people will not play to get the token, and tokenomics will sustain. For example, if tomorrow FIFA comes, obviously it also links with the good Web 2 companies coming into Web 3 space, because Web 2 people love gaming. So if tomorrow a game that people love come into the space, and they tend to play just because they love the game, not because they are getting token out of it, I think that's where we will think the space has reached to a point where it can grow and not fall back. One of the games that is coming into the space right now, if you guys are into P2A game, is Castle Crush. It's by Wildlife Studios, that is based in Puerto Rico, and they have 3 million downloads over iOS and Google Play. So those games we tested on our scholars. We did not tell them first that you are gonna earn a token out of it, and people were so much loving with the game that they are still playing it without uh, earning a token. So that's where we want to head into the space, and that's where I think the space will mature, when people start to play the game because they love the game, not because of the token.
It's an interesting take. Very well put too. I see Metatopia, you joined us. Would you want to say something? So, also, just quickly, you can introduce your project for a good 20 seconds, maybe, and then you can give a spin.
I'm sorry, you did say Metatopia World, right?
Yes.
Oh, good deal. I'm sorry, I was chewing on a baby cheese on cowbells. Yeah, I mean, my name, just so I can put a name to the voice behind Metatopia. My name is G Dollar. You can call me G Dollar. But I'm a community development manager here with Dev Team 6, the company behind Metatopia. We're actually a full stack blockchain company. But my background's actually in the token space, so I started in Web 2, actually doing social media for Carvana on Twitter and Facebook, and did the corporate ladder for a little while, but it really wasn't my thing. And I had been investing. Wow, I've been investing in Bitcoin, ETH, Cardano for probably the last 3-4 years. So, once I burnt out from the corporate life of Web 2 and all that, I just started looking for new jobs, and I got blessed enough to find the position that I'm in now. it said crypto knowledge but not preferred on the application. I said, well, shit, I know what Bitcoin is. Like, let me see what it is. Well, tell you right now, man, I fell down the rabbit hole. I did not know what was in for me. And yeah, so my company here, we've actually been in the token space for 2 years. We've been, now delivering on Metatopia for the past, it's been in development for about 8 months. And yeah, it's a play to earn game that we brought over, swap protocols from the token space over into NFTs. And I think that's something that I like to highlight a lot is, the education piece. When you were talking back to me about tokenomics and play to earn, you know, I think as an overall piece, the thing to focus on as well, for the future is the education, of, the overall Web3 space, being able to bridge the gap, through tokens and NFTs and putting it all together. And that overall leads to increased collaboration, which is all about Web3, right? We're all here to win together. I don't see competition in the space whatsoever. So, yeah, it's a little bit about me and where I'm from and what I believe in here with the project.
That's great. At least we all agree on one thing. This is a rabbit hole. You don't know when you start. You don't even realize when you started, and then how deep you have gone in. Until one fine day you look back and say, "Oh shit, that's a lot of money that's gone in or made or lost." But yeah, let's move on. While we were talking about the whole P2E side of things, very briefly, I think we touched upon the game design. Metagani also mentioned it has to be the focus has to be a game. There should be a community, but also I think you really need to build a game that is sustainable. Now that brings me to the topic of interest for personally for me, which is around game design, also character design, right? So oftentimes, especially now, where P2E games are no longer. I mean, you can't really walk in and then say you can't show a PSP project and say this is it, right? Your game design, the character design, detailing, renders, everything plays significant role for your P2E ecosystem. Let's talk about that in the order that we began. Obviously, Metagandhi, you don't have you are dealing with a lot of games, so you can give your perspective from that end. StarWolvez, you are I mean, I see your project, the character design, everything, so we can talk about how that's come to be. And G Dollar, same thing for you. Let's go in that order: StarWolvez, Metagandhi, and G Dollar. R2 from StarWolvez.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and I think it just goes back to the original point that Meta Gandhi had mentioned and whatnot. Is like, what do traditional gamers want, and why did they play games? And it comes down to the fact that maybe the game mechanics are fun, but a lot of times it's immersion and storytelling, right? And that was something that we took very seriously right from the get-go. We had in our Discord when it was first open, there was nobody was like automatically set to the allow list or whatnot, but you know we wanted to focus around the storytelling elements of the game and our universe, and we had a like community lore section, and we encouraged people to write a lore piece about StarWolvez or about a specific wolf, even though they didn't have any ownership of the NFTs yet. We hadn't even minted, and we thought that we were going to get like maybe a couple hundred submissions at best, just to like get the role in the Discord and maybe have a shot at getting an allow list for some like really good effort lore that was put into it. And when it was all said and done, before the generative mint, we had almost 4,000 individual lore pieces. And some of them were like multi-chapter pieces and whatnot. And it was really incredible and really profound to us, because it really highlighted the fact that people want like a deeper experience with the NFTs, right? Like a connection to them, and it really helped form like this identity and this belief in the ecosystem, the belief in the universe that we were building, and all of that stuff, and really created all these ties. We've gone as far as incorporating a lot of the community lore into our actual lore book. On our team is a guy named NVO, and he is legitimately just a professional writer, and he's been world building for StarWolvez. And I really just think that that extra layer of like, it's not just a PFP, it's not just pixel art, there's more to it than this. There's a story behind it. We're building on top of it. We're trying to do things that make sense in terms of our universe and our ecosystem. That is all like I think really important, because as much as you love playing games, there are things that break the immersion and can pull you out of it, right? Like if you play a traditional game like Grand Theft Auto or Dark Souls or any of these, heavy story based games, it still has to make sense, even as ridiculous as the gameplay might be. There still is like a proper way to build that world out, and that is something that we've been focused on, like before day one, right? Like before the Discord even opened, and it was really wild to us how much the community took that and ran with it, and it blew our mind, and it really kind of just, there's a little bit of vindication that we were like, making the right choices and on the right track. So yeah, I do think that the storytelling, the character development, all of those things are what is going to separate all of the projects that are building now from those kind of first iteration of P2E games, where it was literally like mint NFT, stake NFT, earn token, pull token out, blah blah blah. Like there was no immersion in that. There was no storytelling. It wasn't fun.
That makes me feel stupid because my favorite game growing up was Road Rash. I don't know how many of you know or remember playing this, but that
Love
thing
Road
really never
Rash.
had a yeah. That thing never really had a story to it. Just get on a bike, drive, start driving, kick people
Hey man,
on the way.
wherever that
Now
guy was going, he really wanted to get there, and that is a story worth telling.
that's it,
So
right? That's it. It was like one-way traffic. You just want to drive. If people are coming to kick you, you kick them back. If there's an old lady that would come in your way, just run it over her. Yeah, it was brainless work, but then yeah, it was really that hard. Now, if at this point in the day and age, if I presented the same game saying, "This is it, you're gonna play this," I know the kind of flag one would get saying, "Okay, well, there is nothing in this. There is no weaponry. There is no gore or blood or the GTA style of storytelling." And like you said, I mean, yeah, it's not just about PFP. It goes beyond that. That time has passed where you now need to really have an arc for every character almost of why something is different or one is different from the other or why somebody has better weaponry or accessories compared to the other. Yeah, let's continue. Great points.
Yeah, very good point, man. So on my side, I think personally, every gamer is looking for something different. It's subjective based. So some people are looking for AAA graphics. Some people like are looking for uh, maybe a card game, like for example Axie Infinity was a card game. There is a game that is coming in by Europe's top selling card game artist called Cross the Ages. So you guys keep a check on it. This is a card game which is already people are playing physically every day, and it's going to come on web 2. So it's just about what exactly people want and they love, and you bring it them to them. It doesn't have to be, obviously, some most of the people who are into gaming, because they're so much into seeing the web 2 games with high graphics, uh, proper storytelling on PlayStation, so they have set a benchmark that all web 2 web 3 games are going to be in that line. But it's really not the case. Some games can really be just simple and easy to play, and people still play it. Axie Infinity was a really great example, although the graphics were okayish but not that great. So I think, so you just need to develop something that people like to play. It can be around storytelling, it can be around great graphics. It depends upon how much funds and technology you have available in hand. Flappy Bird, for example, a web 2 game that like went bonkers, we know that, right? It was simply developed by one guy. So it's just that what people get addicted to, and you never know, it's just still like a gamble. Each company is trying their best, putting in tons of funds to develop something that people will like. But until unless it's out there, you never know how people are going to react towards it. So I personally think you do your market research. You see if people are liking in your game or not. Try it. No matter it's a pixelated game, no matter it's a lore based game, no matter it's just like Road Rash, or an open world game, for example. Sin City is developing one. So, and see what people react to it, and you just be like water. So you adapt yourself based on the feedback you get, and I think that's how one day you will achieve make a game where people really like it. Yeah.
That's really a great point of keeping things grounded at the same time. Look at the market that you're operating in to see what do they want, not build what others want, not what you think they want, right? So it's always been a thing for a product manager. My ex life, if you may. Before I forget again, guys, if you are in the space, please make sure you comment on the pinned tweet so we know you are here. There's gonna be a Surgence list giveaway. There's gonna be StarWolvez has also come forth to do a giveaway from their end. So one way for sure that we know you were here is if you are able to comment yourself, and also make sure you follow all the speakers so we kind of know where we can reach out to you when you end up being a winner. So yeah, do these two things while we are in the spaces. We'll march on. We do have $3 on the line. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just want to add to what Shalu said that we don't have an NFT to offer, but I'll also do a giveaway that any person who is tweeting will select one person, or if you guys want to join our guild, we'll give you 20% extra earnings on a split if you guys are in. All scholarship slots are filled, but we'll give you one slot for a top game we have right now, Castle Crush, and uh, so yeah, on more earnings than a manager. So that's the giveaway from my side.
This is getting very, very rewarding for people who are in the space. And the best part is there aren't many, right? So if you're, I think the complaint is, it's too early. Sorry, you lost a really good chance of winning three good giveaways. At least as of now, we still have Metatopia, the $G to throw something into the mix. It's probably by force now, but let's see if
Oh,
once he finishes speaking.
it's not by force.
Stop
I actually
getting
plan.
put on the spot.
I plan to actually give out a season 2 NFT to our blockchain staking game. So there'll be a rat character NFT to one person in the space tonight.
Okay,
From
guys, keep yeah. So, like I said, make sure you follow all of these guys so they can reach out, tweet or retweet about this space. I mean, yeah, you won't lose your spot. I'm pretty sure by retweeting a few people more joining, we still would be looking at who was there in the space and were interacting with us. I will also open the stage, open this stage for a few Q&As at the end. So stay tuned. Yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna just touch on StarWolvez. You know, I like the fact that he mentioned about the content writer to create that storyline, that lore. It's actually very similar. We recently, about 2 months ago, I think, hired on a content writer whose only job is to be here, crafting up, the emotion and the adventure to it all, to give it. If you've ever played Wolf Game or Cat and Mouse, blockchain staking games can be pretty simple. So the in game side for Metatopia is very risk and reward. A lot of potential to earn more, to lose more, to get your NFT stolen, to keep the game fun, but better yet, to also bring in that story and make you feel like you're actually there. Being able to tell the story behind the characters and their purposes of interaction in the game is huge, and being able to do that through written form is a huge community builder for sure. So I like that a lot.
Well
Yeah,
done, well
that's
done.
so well said. And then, like I said, it's just that gamers desire that deeper, like, kind of connection to the story and the actions that they're doing, right? So, and my point was never that there was any issue with Risk Protocol or those types of games, but like when you
Oh
can
yeah,
make
yeah,
it
yeah.
make sense, right? Like it becomes such a deeper experience when
Hmm.
it just makes sense in the gameplay.
Yeah.
All right. So no one has reminded me to keep a check on time, but again, like I said, it's P2E gaming is a passionate topic for me, so I'm gonna keep rolling until someone says enough. So let me know if you need to hop out, and then we will kind of start ramping it down. While we continue to march on, I wanted to quickly check in and see what your thoughts are about uh, the the second term that keeps running around is metaverse. Now with P2E metaverse, but kind of pitted against one another, or them working in tandem. What's your opinion on where this will end up essentially?
I think that depends on how it's used. Um, a lot of the times they're pretty generic. I think they're on the play to earn side, it's definitely interesting to see, because we were building one out for our blockchain staking game on a Minecraft engine. But if you keep up with NFT worlds at all, Mojang and Microsoft put out that statement that they don't want any NFT integrations into their into their metaverse, so to say. Minecraft is one of the first few metaverses, maybe behind Roblox. But so personally, I'm not a huge fan since then myself. When it comes to the play to earn side, but I do see metaverses as a huge potential for the future in the terms of connecting humans. But I don't have much experience on the game side, so I'd love to kind of hear from those that do.
All
Yeah,
right, we have a caller.
I mean, I think like in reality, the metaverse has already existed. I mean, G brought up Minecraft and Roblox, and if you're of a certain age, like I'm 35, I've played these games, I've enjoyed them, I've used them as social experiences, right? Like they're all fun, and it's interactive, and you build and like all these great things, but I really do, and I'm lucky in the sense that I have this child who's 11 who's really into games and plays all of this stuff because I see the connection to the experience through his lens, and it's almost totally different. And I always tell the story about the Travis Scott concert in Fortnite, right? And there's been tons since, and I mean, even MTV had on their VMA awards or whatever they're called, the Metaverse Performance Award, right? Because like Justin Bieber did one, like all of these big names are doing them. He talks about going to that Travis Scott concert with his friends in Fortnite as though it was a real concert, because to him, it absolutely was, right? And you can sit up here as a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old and be like, oh, kids these days don't know what concerts are. But his reality is that he was at a Travis Scott concert with his buddies, and they were doing their dance emojis and whatever, the dance, whatever they're called. See, even I'm boomerizing myself here, but
The emotes, damn it.
there we go. Thank you. But
Emotes,
yeah,
yes.
like they had fun. They talk about it. This was a real life experience for them, right? And this is a cohort that in a mere 10 years is going to be out in the workforce and earning money, right? This is just 10 years. They are going to be, post-secondary, in college, earning money, maybe graduating, getting a job. Those habits aren't going to change. Like the metaverse already exists. Right now, we're just building towards it being bigger, deeper, and more interoperable. But like in the case of Roblox, right? Like that is a metaverse. You have all of these games being built on a singular platform, and somebody has their account with their single avatar existing in it, and they jump from interoperable game to interoperable game, and they do that as social experiences. We're just getting to be on a much higher funded, bigger level, with NFTs being thrown into the mix as the digital ownership side of it, right? Because that is going to be a huge desire for anyone of those age groups, right? Like I own this skin, I own this weapon, I own this backpack. I should be able to sell it or trade it, right? And once that Pandora's box is open, there's zero going back, right? So I mean, we've already been existing in it, and we're just on the precipice of it being like a full blown epidemic, if you want to call it that, right? That sounds
Yeah, I
bad,
mean,
but you know what I mean.
our version of, I mean, given you said you're in your mid 30s, I'm dangling in that space. Our version of concerts, music, gigs, etc., was maybe standing in large crowds, or standing in front of that big boom speakers and then experiencing that bass in your face and your whole body, the bones shaking, right? I don't think, I mean, we are early in the space when it comes to these concerts in metaverse, but the whole immersive experiences and the virtual reality, the kind of hardware that is getting prepared, that's getting made, manufactured right now, that you can immerse yourself into. I think it's not too far when you pretty much could do exactly that sitting at a seat or in your room. and have a very similar experience in bringing that. And by that, your Oculus and your Xbox consoles and everything else had kind of given us a taster into it. Just that the envelope keeps getting pushed further and further out. It's just how, like you guys mentioned it, it's how these two can really go further, and how far can you push it without breaking it. I guess you're always one mistake away from everything coming crashing, but you need to put in like tons of effort. You need to make 100 good things for it to kind of sit well within the audience, but just one bad thing and it just crumbles. So yeah, it's always that part of the equation that we want to be associated with, and then see how these two spaces emerge or converge. I guess. Any other takes?
Yeah, I think in my opinion, as Starwell said, that metaverse has already been existing for a while. I'll kind of merge the 2 points you guys said. Is that yes, it's fun for people. So first, let me begin with the whole narrative of the metaverse, which started in 2021. So the people, what I've heard from people in my real life job also, since I'm into marketing, many of my clients come and tell me that we want to do a metaverse campaign, but for them metaverse just really means developing a virtual world. So I think most of the people in the space currently also think that metaverse just means that you are in a virtual world like GTA, whereas metaverse actually means adding a economical aspect to the virtual world. That means just like the real world where you can do something, you can rent your land and get money out of it, whereas in metaverse you can still buy a land, rent it, and get money out of it. What people don't see metaverse as, people call it a metaverse has been there for a while and stuff, but they don't see the whole earning aspect is missing from that point of view. People ask me sometimes, like, GTA was a metaverse. Yes, it was, but there was no economical aspect of to it. So it's not a web 3, it was not fully a metaverse, but yeah, it was a virtual open world. So I think metaverse needs to be redefined in terms of how we perceive metaverse. I personally think that it has to be perceived from an economical point of view, because it's a reflection of what you do in real life. So if I'm doing something and getting money out of it, uh, metaverse has to give you money in some or the other way, or some tokens in some or the other way. Coming to your second point, uh, that you said that we need to feel, I think feel things in metaverse. So I personally think what is going to happen with Neuralink, is which is few years down the line, is people are able to feel things. They can stand in front of the speaker and sense things. Obviously taste and feel is something that will be really hard to develop, but I think you can still have some or the other aspect that links to your the other senses, that gives you immersive experience in a metaverse. How you bring it to your body by connecting yourself to a chip or whatever, it sounds freaking crazy, but I don't know how it's going to happen. But that's how I see the future of metaverse being evolved in future.
I see Star Wars, you have your hand up, but I have a goldfish memory, so I'm gonna quickly say what I have to say. I mean, great point, Metagandhi. I mean, given the way the space you're operating in, the fact that you're able to see the metaverse as a model that has to bring in the real economic value. To me, when I meet to customers and they come in saying, "Oh, we wanna build a metaverse for ourselves," and this is something this is a real conversation I had with the execs from Gucci when they stepped in and said, you know what, we wanna try out the whole metaverse and the whole Web3 experience. The easiest way I was able to explain them what the difference is between a virtual world and a metaverse is exactly that. As long as you're able to create an economy within that ecosystem, you're looking at something to do with a metaverse versus a normal virtual world. Because if you look at we had games where you were able to trade assets. We had games where you could have in-game purchases. But then there were different elements of metaverse that were missing, and for the financial aspects of it, having an economy built into the whole experience is what is new, is what gets there. That said, Star Wars, good.
Yeah, I just really wanted to quickly add on to what Metagandhi said, and like and just say like, I agree with you, but I also think that that has also existed for a long time because, we haven't even talked about World of Warcraft, which was, at one point, 16 million monthly subscribers. But not only was there a very robust in-game economy there, that did spill over into the real world, and there was very real world value in terms of like the items and the currency and all of the things in there, right? Like it could be extracted. What's exciting about obviously blockchain and NFTs and Ethereum, which is obviously why we're all here, is just that now that ownership dynamic is switching from like, it's not, you're not doing something sneaky and breaking the terms and conditions, and if you get caught your account just gets shut down. Now it's actually just encouraged, right? That economic activity will actually exist on chain. And I think that's the profound shift there. So like like I said, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I just wanted to kind of add on to that point that like we've already been there and we are there right now, but
No, and that's exactly why it's been incredibly difficult to define what a metaverse is. A couple of weeks ago, I did a session where I spent considerable amount of time defining what it is and what, more importantly, what it is not, and it's not easy. For sure. All right, I think we are up on the hour. We'll probably take some questions if there are any from the from the floor. Otherwise, I think we all can have closing comments. If you had to, let me see. Are there any questions before we roll in the last one? Please raise your hand or request for a speaker. I'll make you one, and then you can go ahead and ask a question. All right. If there isn't one, we'll have a closing comment from each of you, right? So I wanted to check in with you and see what's the advice that you'd want to give to the builders in the space, especially the ones that want to explore this P2E world of things. What do you think they should be focusing on?
I mean, I definitely think that right now in the market that we're in, not just the NFT market, but the global market, right? When you look at everything at scale, right now, some might be saying that we're in a crypto winter or in a bear market, but truthfully, this is what's called a builder's market. This is where those that are building and innovating and creating real tech and real utility and uses will be the ones that prevail. And so I think my biggest piece is to those that are out there that are building and have the ideas. Continue doing so, because when the market flips, you're going to be right on top, and that's obviously what we're all aiming to do together, right? And continue to explore those partnerships, those collaboration opportunities, just as we've all done here now on the stage. Get into network and connect. This is one of the best times to do it when you're not running 100,000 miles in a different way in a bull market, right? So I just wanted to say that, and thank you to Ripcord for hosting us and being such a great speaker. And I'd love to hear everybody else kind of weigh out.
yeah, definitely. I mean, G hit the nail on the head. G Money hit the nail on the head. There we go. It is a builder's market, right? And keep showing up every day. Treat your community with respect. Keep showing them that you're building, that you're there for them, that the price of ETH hasn't scared you away, the floor price of your NFT hasn't scared you away if you've minted out, right? Because I firmly believe that those that continue to build and have just this like provable track record of creation, of community building, of networking, of content creation, of expanding their ecosystem, at the end of it will be the recipient of a great run. The other thing I'd like to point out is just that, like, if you're ever feeling discouraged about this market, just take a look at where all of the VC money has been flowing, and it has been piling into this ecosystem. And you want to talk about like essentially buying the dip, right? Like P2E, Web3, the narrative on the outside world that it is down and out and the Ponzi is over, the bubbles burst and everything is dead. But some of the brightest, smartest investors in the world are piling in hundreds of millions of dollars into projects all across the space. The biggest brands in the world, like Starbucks, all of these people are adding, NFT functionality, Web3, accepting crypto payments. Why would anybody want to accept crypto payments when crypto is the price that it is now? Well, it's probably because they believe that it's going to go up, right? Like, just follow all of the money. Like, now is the time to be in there. Like G said, is just now is the time to be building, to be, making all of those connections and setting yourself up for the next run, because the biggest players in the space are doing it right now as we speak, and they're not even being sneaky about it. So, if you're ever feeling discouraged, just remember, like, those people are betting big on the success of this industry, and you could be a part of it.
Well said. Very well said.
Yeah.
Gandhi?
Yeah, I think to take away to all the players is just that, uh, as what StarWolvez said, keep showing up, keep interacting, build connections. That's the right time, and when market flips up, you are going to be on top for sure. Look one coin from a one coin perspective, not from the current value perspective. Not just crypto market, stock market, or any other market. When things go down, they go up. That's the chart, that's the graph, and that's how the economy works, right? Nothing is down forever. Until unless you stop building, you are not gonna be down forever. So just keep, if you are into gaming, you're playing any play to earn games, even if you are into NFTs, even if you are into crypto, invest in project, invest your time in a project that is still building, and in the current market situation. And I think when market flips, you will be on top. So that's the only takeaway, and that's what even I am doing. I'm only investing in projects I feel that they have not vanished, no matter how market has been treating them. So yeah, that's what I've been following, and that's what I'll recommend you guys to follow also.
Thank you, Gandhi. I guess we are upon the hour. We are pretty close to closure. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us. I know it is pretty early for some of you. It's for sure it's 4 a.m. for me, and maybe slightly late or maybe slightly earlier for some of you guys. Thanks for joining. We have taken a snapshot of all the attendees today. We're gonna have a look at the tweets and the retweets and your participation, and reach out to you with the giveaways. That's it. Thanks again for joining us, Meta Gandhi, StarWolvez, and G Dollar. We do have a private chat that's going on in Discord, so I'll catch up with you guys. Continue catching up with you there. But thanks again for coming in today.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Ripcord. Yes.
A
Thank
beautiful
you.
host.
Amazing session, guys. Amazing session. I'll see you all in the Discord. And I mean, all the speakers here, I'd love to see you guys in our Discord as well. So I'll drop a link and we can chat further in there.
Let's do
Thank
it.
you, everyone, for attending. See
Thanks,
you guys.
Bye bye.
Thanks, guys.